Welcome to the Tea Grannies. I'm Elise.
And I'm Araya. Today we're here for our final episode of Season 3, and the topic is a little bit of everything.
Chapter 1. Winter, 2009. The symbol on the door was difficult to decipher, she said as a crimson flush creeped up her throat, and the gray stall door slammed closed behind her. He nodded. He had taken the same gamble, so either of them could be in the wrong washroom. There were no urinals, so he suspected it was him. The symbols on the doors were both noodles and unintelligible. He scrubbed his hands in the sink, while she washed hers to his left. Square white porcelain with chunky star-shaped silver taps, like those found in a high school, though he hadn't been to one. "You on a date?" she asked, over the rush of water. She dried her hands on the brown paper, and pulled a fresh one and held it out for him. There was a seed between her overlapping front teeth. But there was something so lovely and endearing and real about it that he smiled back at her and resisted the urge to tell her about said seed. He nodded, and leaned his hip against the sink as he dried his hands. "How's it going, then?" She rifled through her bag and came up with a tube of lipstick, a soft pink shade, and she noticed the seed as she began to apply it. She sucked and brushed the tip of her tongue over her front teeth to dislodge it. He frowned at her. "Not well, to be honest." "Blind date?" "Pretty much." She finished with the lipstick and chucked it in her bag again. A menagerie of items audibly sloshed around as she hoisted the strap onto her shoulder. How can it be pretty much be a blind date? It either is or it isn't. "Well, I did see a photograph of her."
As far as meet cutes go, this one is actually hilarious, I think. I love how they're both a little bit embarrassed, but they just kind of let it go and try to make do with their situation, which, I mean, if you're in that situation, that's probably the best way to go about it. I like the descriptions in this piece. They're clear and vivid, and I could just envision everything. Public restroom, that's pretty simple. I'm guessing at a restaurant or coffee shop or something. And I'm also guessing probably some kind of hipster place that has to be creative with everything because of the weird symbols on the door. Yeah, so I liked this introduction. I'm curious to see where it might be going, but what I'd recommend is starting a touch earlier. I think this is a really good example of starting the story in medias res, in the middle of action, but similar to when a lot of authors try to start a story in the middle of a fight scene or high-speed, high-action chase, there's too much going on that we don't have enough context for yet, so it was difficult for me to navigate the scene properly and anchor myself in it. So if the male character here is the point of view character, what's his name? Why is he in this restroom? I'm thinking even just a paragraph of context to open things up before these two interact would be helpful. Like if it's from the man's perspective, have us in his head, learning his name, what kind of mood he's in based on some hints. Because you're in third person, so you could say, Josh was feeling whatever. Don't use that as a sentence because that's lazy, but that's just an example. We need his name so that we can, think about him with a label. It's hard to consider these characters without names right off the start. Give us a hint of what kind of mood he's in, and based on some hints about why he's in this location in the first place. Like, I'm not saying you have to give us everything, but I needed more. I needed a reason to care or a reason to resonate with this character about, like, why should I keep reading? What's keeping me invested in this scene? And then answering the who, what, and why for him before the scene kicks off would add that missing piece. That's essentially what I'm getting at. Who, his name, what, how he's feeling about his circumstances at the moment, and why, a hint or a brief explanation for his reason for being in the location in the first place. In this case, it's a date, apparently, pretty much a blind date, but maybe not a blind date because he saw a picture of her first. I don't know. We don't need that much detail, but we do need context. We do need a reason to latch onto the character's mindset or circumstances and be intrigued enough to keep reading, essentially. Right now, we haven't been given enough detail that I don't really have any idea where the story is going, what kind of story it's going to be. Is it a rom-com? I mean, probably, based on the circumstances. So. I think that would be cute, but it might not. Like, I have no idea. This could go literally anywhere, and that's where I'm feeling like was the point of this piece, and that's what's missing for me. Other than that, I don't think much needs to change. As I said, the descriptions are great, the scenario, the setup is great, and I just want to know if it's actually a meet cute or not, because if it is, I could see it being like super adorable.
I cackled like a witch when I read this. I love a good meet cute. And you know, when you ask couples like, how did you meet? It's like, oh, we met in a public washroom. Like, that's quite funny. I like it. I agree with Elise's comments, so I'm not going to repeat myself or repeat after Elise. I thought the setting was well done. I can totally picture it. Bold of them to lean on the counter. Like, those public washrooms, those counters are always wet. Like, why are they always wet? But anyways, I like their dialogue, but I'd like for it to be a little bit more spunky. It's kind of too casual, like realistic, like very realistic. But it is fiction, and so you need to have your character saying something a little bit more interesting than, hey, how's it going? To get us interested in keeping us reading. The little bit about the seed between her teeth was really cute. It was a great little detail. And I do like that she straight up asks if he's on a date, which makes me think this is like a first date kind of location. And why are washroom signs so confusing these days? Like, why are they even gender specific? Like, that's another rant.
Yeah,
but like
sure.
every time I go into a restaurant now, I stand at the bathroom and I'm like, does it matter? Really?
Which one am I now?
Which one am I supposed to be? Anyways, I did really like this. I would keep reading. I love a good rom-com, and that is what I'm hoping that this is.
Welcome to the end. The end of season 3. Not the end of the world. This is why I don't like.
This is it.
Yeah, I don't script these things because I didn't realize how bad that sounded until I said it, and now here we are. The end of season 3, not the end of the world. I mean, it could be. We wouldn't know it yet, and that's fine. Honestly, everything's fine. And it's not the end of the tea grannies either, which is lovely and wonderful to know about, because that means that, like, oh, I'm going to be doing something very specific next year in 2023, and I never planned that far in advance. So this is weird, and I love it. But yeah, this is the final episode of season 3, and as we were kind of getting ready, our notes for this one, we got a little nostalgic, as people do, and I think that suits the granny vibe. Like, okay, we get to tell stories about how nostalgic we feel. That's what growing up is all about. So, we're not gonna like go super deep into this and make y'all bored, but we did want to just kind of recap a little bit what we've talked about over the last couple seasons and where we're headed, what we're up to, what life looks like between now and whatever comes next, whether that's the apocalypse or season 4, I don't know.
Whichever comes first.
Exactly. But yeah, so season 1, we kicked off last year, which is, that's wild. We've done 3 seasons in the span of a year and a half. No wonder we're so tired. Wow.
We're very tired.
My goodness gracious.
I think that's the overachiever in us.
Oh, right.
Just kind of took the driver's seat with this little project, and now we're like, well, we need a break on this road trip.
This is the perk of being friends with someone who goes to therapy for the same things.
Should do group therapy together. Yeah. Like, hey, we're both really deeply messed up.
That took a turn. Oh yeah. Man, this is a happy episode. Again. My goodness. But no, we want to make space for all of the emotions of life, just maybe not on live audio. So season 1, a year and a half ago, we had a like psychic brainwave where we were like, we should do a podcast. Wait, you want to do a podcast too? What the heck? Neither of us like people or talking to people, but we want to talk to people online for weeks at a time and do a podcast. Yeah. That makes sense. Social anxiety, hi. But here we are, 3 seasons later. So, something worked, and maybe it's that online medium of We get to talk
Mhm.
to you, but we don't have to look at your faces.
Like public speaking without the part that's
without
actually
the-
really scary, which is
without the
the
public
looking
part.
at
Like,
you. Yeah.
if we mess up in this episode, we will cut it and we won't release it
Yeah.
to the public, and no one will know.
No
No
one
one
will
will
know.
know.
And we delete those
We
records
delete
as
all
well.
of them, except for the ones that I save for posterity, but I won't tell you which
Yeah.
ones those are. I'm kidding. I'm not trying to make you hate me. I need you on my side.
We need a blooper episode.
We do. I need to like go through and collect some excellent tidbits because there are some good ones. But anyway, season 1 was all about getting started. We went over everything, I want to say, from drafting to editing to publishing. It's just getting into writing, and what does that look like for you, and what are your options, and what are some strategies. And we talked about scheduling, like we talked about checklists, my favorite topic. And I mean, that in hindsight, that doesn't sound super exciting. It's not like we're doing like a true crime serial drama or anything here, but no one's coming to this expecting that, so there's some comfort there. And then season 2, we kicked it off in November 2021 with National Novel Writing Month, and all of our tips and tricks for that time, which is coming soon.
Already.
It's almost upon us. Oh,
I'm not ready.
they're almost here. So I know a lot of people will be gearing up for that shortly, and I wish you all the best of luck. I don't know how much I'm going to get done in that month, really. I don't know how much we're going to talk about that. That's later.
We'll get there.
We will. But season 2 was really fun. We went through Nano, and then we talked about craft and story building, point of view, character building. We did an episode where we interviewed Eileen Cook about villains, and that was just
super fun.
Chef's kiss. That was brilliant. So wonderful. We talked about romance as a genre. Like that's the only genre we covered over the course of our 3 seasons. One which I don't write, and you've only started writing in the last little while. So whatever, it's fine. We did talk about world building as well in our lovely wine world building episode, which is more fantasy leaning, maybe, but world building is in every story, so whatever. And we kind of throw romance into all our stories anyway, so it's not like we're unfamiliar.
We like it, and now I'm obsessed. If anybody follows me on like Goodreads or on the Bookstagram, you guys know that's like my number 1 read genre now, or subgenre of like everything. I'm like, oh, it doesn't have romance in it. I don't think I want to read it. I'm okay, thanks. But yeah, and then this season 3, we pretty much stuck with the publishing side of things. Most of you have probably listened to them, but if you haven't, we did everything from queries to finding agents, as much as we could think of, honestly. We interviewed a lot of really great authors. We had Maya Hampson. We talked to her about landing an agent and what happens when you do, which was super fun. We talked to Rob Sanborn about traditional publishing, and Kate McWilliams gave us all the tea on self-publishing. So it was fun to have. It was also fun to have listeners reach out and share their own resources for querying. You know, the more knowledge, the better. So we aren't the be-all and end-all of your research. Don't forget that. Make friends in your writing community, because there is so much to learn.
Yeah, there's so much that we don't know, and we're sitting here like providing information, like we know some things, and it feels like we don't. And then we talk to someone like Maya or to Kate or Rob, like I didn't know any of that stuff.
Yeah,
I've been doing.
And we were like, we know lots. Let's do a podcast.
Let's see.
Oh, the turntables.
So humbling. So wonderfully humbling. And I say that in the best way possible. Like the interview episodes have been my favorite episodes since we started. Like, as much as I love just chatting with you and shooting the shit and, you know, talking bad about people, which is, you know, my favorite part of every week, it's been incredibly fun to get to know other writers and their processes and their notes and tips and tricks. And that's been, just awesome.
So first and foremost, Elise and I will be taking a break. This is not the end of the Tea Grannies. We are going to do a season 4, but most importantly, we are taking a break. We pretty much did our first 3 seasons back to back, and we haven't had a chance to focus on our own projects. So we're going to take a break, and Elise is going to tell us what she's going to work on while we're doing that.
Put me in the hot seat, why don't you? I mean, despite like feeling like we haven't we haven't had time to work on personal projects, but we have. I published a whole trilogy in the same span of time. What? I did what? Oh my goodness.
Okay, what I was really trying to say was I haven't had time to work on my personal projects because I get obsessed with one project at a time, and it's been the podcast.
Oh, yeah. But you have when did you draft Ladykiller?
I think I did it during podcasting times.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's recent. Or you redrafted it, and then I workshopped it, and then you did it again.
Yeah, so I did get some stuff done. Just definitely not at my normal output.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has cut into our usual, what we see as our usual output. Which, yeah, sure, we're spending a lot of time doing this. We enjoy doing it. Makes sense.
It's fun.
But yeah, we do. Yeah, doing 3 seasons back to back to back is a lot.
It's a lot.
There's a lot. There's a lot of planning that goes into this, whether you believe us or not. Maybe you think we just sit down every time we record and just, talk it out, and then we're done.
I wish we could wing it. I wish we were that good. But we're like, no, we need notes because we get sidetracked
we don't
very
do
easily.
Notes, we do this, and we just keep going. Yeah. So it has cut in a bit, and we're going to take a longer break than we've seen between the other seasons. We This is releasing near the end of October, and we probably won't dive into season 4 until spring 2023. Yeah. We're not going to put a date on it at this point because that would be too much pressure. But we will be back. And during the break, you can find us on all the socials as usual, and we'll pop in with updates along the way. I, for one, am going to be probably posting a little bit more about my current draft that I'm working on, which is a science fiction. I want to say it's YA. My main character is very YA, so that's what it's going to be. She's 16. It's a daughter and father searching the galaxy for her missing mother, and they're a family of smugglers, and we get into some wonderful mischief, and I'm very excited about it.
I'm so excited to read that.
Very excited about it. I've never done a sci-fi before. The best I've done was like Star Wars fan fiction when I was 14, and we don't talk about those days anymore. No, I probably literally wrote myself as a Sith Padawan kind of a blend.
Ooh,
and it was me with a lightsaber trying to get out of slavery or some shit. I don't know what it was. It didn't make sense.
Sounds actually pretty good. I love Star Wars fan fiction. I love fan fiction. Everyone that listens already knows that about me. I love it, and I'm not ashamed.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I could get into more of that, but I have enough to do already because aside from the drafting, I also want to edit the Bug Monster story that I have referenced multiple times on this podcast and outside of this podcast for the past 2 years. And I know that Maria's pissed at me about it. I know that Maya's pissed at me about it because they read it and they told them I would edit it, and I have not.
And we want it. We want it.
And I've made notes. I have your workshop notes. I have direction. I just need to sit down and do it. And to do that, I need the time. So don't kill me because I will get it done. And if you kill me, you don't get the draft. That's how it works.
That's fair. That's fair.
Although if I could come back from the dead to hand you a draft, I would. I would love to do that for you. Probably not in my future. And then aside from that, I do need to figure out what my work life looks like over the next 6 months? Can't do the math. Don't care. Over the next little while. Because I might have some new regular contract work coming in on my freelance side of things that could keep me quite busy. When you work contract for more than one person, it can get really tricky because you don't work for them, you're not an employee, so you're not at their beck and call technically, but a lot of people kind of act like they'll message you, and if they're the kind of person that expects a response right away, it can get a little awkward if you don't.
A little dicey.
Haven't dealt with much of that so far, but that can always change.
Always possible.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But no, right now I'm working with some pretty amazing people, and I'm really happy with the stuff that I'm getting. And it is a lot of variety, and it brings me a lot of joy, even though it cuts into the writing that I would like to be doing. But I don't get paid for that. So
yeah, we need those day jobs to fund the fun stuff in our life. My life is a dumpster fire right now, which I won't get into because I am going to therapy next week, and that's when I'm going to get into it. But my plans during the break I'm finally gonna draft this rom-com idea that's been floating around in my head for a while. I'm gonna use NaNoWriMo to kind of help me do it. It'll probably be a short first draft. I have an idea of having like a audiobook narrator and a romance author having a bit of a face off, and then he'll be on like contract to read her books, and then her books are going to slowly become about him, and I'm really excited for it.
I
So
want to read it immediately.
I
You told me
don't I
about
don't
it
write a lot of
before.
contemporary because I get into like I got to refer to social media and like when should I time this and where should it be set. So I think I'm gonna go for the whole like fictional city in a province or something, and then that way I don't have to be like, is that the right
Yeah,
street? Because I don't
perfect.
want to do that.
Perfect.
The other project I wrote, I think it was sometime last year, I wrote a submission for a short story contest where you had to write about pirating dogs. And I thought this was super fun. So I wrote a short story starring my dogs, obviously. And I kind of loved it. I called it The Somersaulting Pig, which is a reference to my one dog who looks like a pig. She literally did a somersault out of the truck one day and landed on her back, and she was fine. And that is why I called it The Somersaulting Pig, because she's like our narrator. So I've been thinking about rewriting that and expanding it a bit and self-publishing it just as like my little experiment so I can get a feel for how to do it. And yeah,
So I
and
think
I'll
that's such a
dedicate
good
it to
idea.
my sweet senior dog Lucy, who passed away in the end of August. So that's kind of on my plan. We'll see how long the draft takes me. And then, like I've been saying, also like Elise for so long, I am going to edit my Pride and Joy, my Lady Assassin story. I keep saying I'll do it,
Yeah,
and
you
I
do.
keep getting all this feedback, and I have 20 pages of notes from Elise that I need to like bravely read one more time and then edit. But I just haven't felt ready yet. But I will. And that one's a fantasy romance. We got a cinnamon roll of a love interest and lots of stabby fun stuff. So I'm pretty happy with that one. And then last but not least on my list is I'm going to try and relax and get some downtime in.
That was very dramatic, like soap opera gasp right there. You're going to try to what?
I'm gonna try a what? Yeah, it's definitely I'm really bad for running myself into the ground, getting really burnt out. So my goal is to just sort of give myself weekends again, like stop trying to fill my weekends with writing, bookstagram, podcast stuff, and slot that in during the week. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I had a span of about like I want to say 2 to 3 weeks over the last couple of months where I had weekends. Like I had them, and it was like, oh, this is what it feels like to stop working on to have a weekend. This is most people's reality. It was shocking. It was very nice, and then I promptly filled them up with other things, and I have not been taking weekends like I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm trying to get back to that. Maybe we can help each
I
other.
really like this.
Oh, no.
Oh, we're the worst. But that is our plans for during the break. And then Elise and I were chatting when we were talking about doing a tea break episode. We were like, maybe we should throw in some book recommendations, especially for the people that don't follow us on Bookstagram and don't see all my fangirling over what I'm currently reading. So we're going to hit you guys up with some book recommendations. All of these are badass, amazing, super well written, 5 stars. So if you're looking for books to read for research, we included a few different genres. So Elise is going to start us off. Current recommendations. I just want you guys to know that we change our recommendations like often depending on what we've read. This is where we are at right now.
Right now, in this current time, and a few months from now, I'll have a completely different list, but that's okay.
Same.
These are still amazing, and they still will be. But no, I was going to say, I'm really proud of myself for the variety of genres that I have included.
Me too.
Out of the 5 that I'm going to talk about, there are only 3 fantasy. So it's still more than half, but it's still better than usual, okay? The first one that I think I've been hyping this one. I read it near the beginning of the year, so I've been hyping it for a while. I read it as an audiobook. I got really into audiobooks in the last year or so. So actually I read several of these as audiobooks and enjoyed them very much. But the first one is An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. She also has a book called Sorcery of Thorns, which I enjoyed very much because it's about a girl in a library with lots of books, and that's a huge theme. So if you like reading, chances are you'll like that aspect of it. But Enchantment of Ravens is not that. It's everything fae. And if you're sick of S.J. Maas and Holly Black and all those wonderful authors that we know and love, but have read too much of, this could be for you, because I was in that space when I picked it up. I was like, do I really want another fae story? Like, everyone's doing it, and they're all using kind of the same elements, and it's all, like, it's different, but all kind of the same. And it all starts to blend together. And then I read this, and it's a standalone, so it's pretty easy to get into, and I was blown away. I thought it was brilliant, especially how the author weaves in the fae aspects and describes them. The descriptions are amazing. It's an enemies to lovers, this human painter named Isabel, and the fae autumn prince named Rook. Those names. Man. So these two characters clash over Isabel's painted this portrait of Rook at his request, and he takes issue with something that she's done with it and spirits her away to have her tried for her crime against him in the fae court. And it was so good. It was so good. I can't tell you how good it was. Just go read it, basically. It's forced proximity.
So I should read it next?
Well, we were talking about what you were going to read next, which was, it was this one. Yeah. You should read next. It's a fall read.
I'm going to read it.
It's a fall read. It's just, it's the Fae Autumn Prince. Like, you can't get more fall than that. And I mean, they do experience other seasons, but it's the Fae Autumn Prince. I'll leave it at that.
The book I'm currently obsessed with, and I have made it my entire personality at this time, and I literally was hugging it to my chest and squealing when I finished, which I haven't done. Like, I can't remember the last time I did that with a book. Like, I'm a pretty stoic reader, you know. I was like losing my shit. It's this book called The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy by Megan Bannon.
I like that.
It is the best book ever. I'm so obsessed with it. It's a fantasy romance, and it's basically like if You Got Mail had zombies. And it is so awesome. And the side characters are so good. And the love interest, I mean, I'm posting my review. By the time this episode comes out, I'll have a review on the Bookstagram page if you want to look at my fangirling review. Like, I loved it so much that I DM'd the author when I finished and sent her a fangirl message. I never do that. I think it's creepy generally. I don't ever do that. But I was actually so excited when I finished. It's like, I have to tell her how amazing this is. This book just like changed my life.
Oh, that is so sweet.
So you gotta read it. The animal characters in it, oh my gosh, they're so great. And the romance, the spice, it has everything you want in a fantasy romance, and it feels so fresh. I've never read anything like it before. And I read a lot. I'm at over 100 books already in 2022. So when I say that, I really mean it.
I'm struggling to hit my goal of 50 books. Struggling. And that's never happened to me before.
When my mental health is bad, I read a lot. So you can tell if I look at my Goodreads how poorly or how well I'm doing.
I think I do the opposite. When my mental health gets bad, it's like I don't feel like reading.
Yeah,
which
I don't
know.
I'm a read, so I don't have to think about anything else. Hence the romance.
I just watch TV. That's fair. Okay, I wasn't expecting your top to be a fantasy because you've been recommending me quite a few just like straight up romances lately. So I was like, oh, it's fantasy. Okay, now I'm good. I'm ready. I want to read it now. I was gonna read it anyways because that is a high praise, and I'd be missing out if I don't. But my next one is again fantasy because you expect nothing less of me. This one I've talked about it before. I can't remember if this season or the last season when we were talking about POV. But the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. So I'm cheating a little bit and I'm putting 3 books into one because I read books 2 and 3 this year and I read book 1 last year. I believe I did them all as audiobooks again. Narrator was fabulous. And this is one of those authors that I can only dream of emulating one day. One of those people that you read their work and you're like, oh, I want to be able to write like that. I wish I could write like that. I want to be like you when I grow up. And I
want to be like you when I grow up.
It's at once the most like motivating and crushing thing because it's just like it's this thing you want to shoot for and it's very motivating in that way, but I find that it's also like a little bit crushing in that, will I ever get there? I doubt myself so much in the moment that I'm not sure. But either way, read the books anyways, because they're wonderful experiences. This extremely rich fantasy world. I don't think I've ever read anything quite like it. It's told between several POVs, and one of them is in second person, which some people think that's a bit weird, and I thought it was at first too, until I realized how it was all coming together, and the way that second person narrative weaves in with the rest of it and how it's explained over the course of the trilogy is just, my mind exploded. It was incredible. If that alone is not enough, the trilogy follows a mother who has lost all of her children in a few different ways, and she's torn between the idea of saving the people around her or destroying them for the abuse that they've heaped upon her for all of her life, for the abilities that she was born with. So it's pretty dark and devastating, I would say, as a narrative, but that's very fitting, and I think this author does it amazingly well, and I wouldn't have it done any other way, because I don't think it would be as genuine.
I've got to read that one too. It's on my shelf. Now we're getting into just a straight romance, contemporary romance. I just read this one recently on Kindle Unlimited, and I sort of read the blurb and I was like, that sounds cute, but contemporary romance can be kind of hit and miss for me sometimes. It can be like, when it comes to characters, I got to be into it. So this one is called The Wrong Mr. Right by Stephanie Archer. I read it in like a day. I couldn't stop reading it. And anytime my husband interrupted me, I was like, I'm reading. Shut up. So the premise is pretty much a shy bookseller asks a hot surfer guy for his help in making her into a hot girl, aka help her find some confidence with her love life. And the thing I also loved about this was it was set on Vancouver Island, and we don't get a lot of books set in BC, like in general, I would say, especially on the island. And so I love that. It was adorable. It was like steamy. Like their relationship was like, it was pretty much like friends to lovers, which is not my usual trope at all. I usually don't like friends to lovers. But they were perfect, and I loved it so much. And I was just smiling like an idiot when I finished reading it. I was like, I love this. And this is actually the second in the series. You can read this one as a standalone. And so I went back and read the first one because I wanted more. And I like that one too, but this one was the best one out of the two. The third one comes out like soon. So I know what I'll be doing when that hits my Kindle.
Nice. Okay, so this is not a fantasy. And it is also not a romance. Although there are some, there's some romance woven into it, but I would say that's not enough of a focus to say it's a romance. If We Were Villains, ML Rio, I can't get over this book. I can't get over this book. Every time I remember that I read it, I'm like, oh, right. So this is similar to what I said about Jemison, an author that I want to be one day when I grow up. Like, I want to write this well. Somehow, some way, I want to achieve this level of mastery. And they probably are like, oh, that's not a level of mastery. Like, I still learn so much. And it's like, I don't care. I want to be wherever you are at in the pyramid right now. And I'm not going to get there without hard work. So this book, I stayed up until 4 a.m. reading it. Not my proudest moment, but it was one of the ones I enjoyed the most. It features a cast of theater students in a highly competitive school, and what unravels is a murder mystery that is just the most unexpected kind of twists and turns, and I devoured it. I loved every word of it. It's so poetic and descriptive and dark and twisted and sexy and dark and it's so dark. Oh man. But so engaging. And despite, like, usually when I read something more literary fringe with poetic descriptive language, it tends to get too much for me after a little while. It's like, can you just say what you're trying to say? But this, every phrase was so carefully crafted. It felt like they spent a lot of time in the stylistic edit portion, just with word choice and making sure it all flowed. And they talk about Shakespeare a lot, so that makes sense in context. And just, yeah.
I also need to read this one.
Yeah, you lent it to me.
I'm kind of proud of us for picking books that we haven't really both read. Like, that's impressive. Because
that is impressive. That doesn't usually happen.
We read a lot of those things. My next one is a historical romance. It's called What the Wind Knows by Amy Harmon. And this was recommended to me on Bookstagram like multiple times by the same person. And I finally was like, I'll read it. Like, I usually like historical fiction. It can be hit and miss, obviously, just like with anything. So I don't really pick it up that much, except like my Regency romances. I love that shit. But this one was like a proper, like, very well researched. It's set in Ireland during the 1920s, which is a very like intense time in Ireland. It features some time travel. So I mean, you could call it magical realism, maybe. It's very, I wouldn't I would still call it historical romance as far as I'm concerned. It was a real tearjerker at the end, and I was at the end, I'm like, how is this gonna end so that I can move on with my life? What is going on? It was so well done. I really enjoyed it. And it was so I want to be like that writer when I grow up type of moment. Like, how is she good at this? It was just, it's so good. Gotta read it. I feel like it's one of those books, the same with everyone else I've talked to in Bookstore about it, where people kind of try and describe it, but then they're just like, you have to read it. And then you're like, ugh, and then you finally read it and you're like, oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you have to read it.
It's on my stack from you, so that's coming up.
Good. Yes, I hope you
Coming up
love it.
next.
And
I need
having
to
been to
actually-
Ireland a couple times, I extra appreciated it. I thought it was great.
I'm
And it
not
made
a
me
big
want to go
like
back.
I'm not a big travel bug because I traveled so much as a kid. I don't get drawn to that. But if I want to visit any place in the world, Ireland is one of them. It's like,
It's awesome.
before I die, I would like to make it out there.
I think it's a writer's dream, you know. There's so many like coffee shops and like bookstores, and like we road tripped on the Wild Atlantic Way, like around Ireland, and it's just so gorgeous and so much tea. I was so happy. Lots of cows, so Nick was happy too.
That's cute. Okay, next, and the order of these, I should say, certainly doesn't say anything about where they sit.
Yeah, we
in
picked
hierarchy.
random order. Random order.
These are all very wonderful. This is another fantasy. I have raved about this one on, I think, on my Instagram page and maybe elsewhere. I read this one as an audiobook. Again, this was a road trip book. I was on a road trip with my husband. We were driving back home, and we started this somewhere around the beginning of the trip. It was like a 12-hour drive. So we finished it. Like, we did it all in one go, one sitting. I think we stopped for supper, and that was it. And I fell asleep at one point, so we had to back up because I didn't. Yeah.
How dare you?
How dare I? And it was like right around kind of the most important stuff that was happening. So we really had to go back and make sure that I was, up to what was going on. But it's Nettle and Bone by Kingfisher, T. Kingfisher. And someone has raved to me about her other books, which all seem to be kind of quite different from each other. So I'm curious to get into her other stuff. But this one is a fantasy. And basically all you need to know, if you're like me, to be interested in this book is that on her quest to kill a prince, Mara is joined by a grave witch, a reluctant fairy, a strapping former knight, and a chicken possessed by a demon.
You had me at chicken possessed by a demon.
Right? I saw that when I was reading about it before I read the book. I saw that. I was like, oh, tell me, you should have put that first. I don't care about all the other crap. And now I want to read it. I don't care what it's about. There's a chicken possessed by a demon. So it's like a darker adult version of Howl's Moving Castle. And it's glorious. It's this weird blend of humor and morbidity. Like, it's about grave witch. It's about dead people and bones and stuff. But it's hilarious. Like, it's so funny. And yeah, it's an excellent audiobook. If you like audiobooks, the narrator is just really entertaining with her voices and everything. And just the concepts. It's like, it blew me away. It was absolutely gripping. Understand that road trips are draining, and that's why I fell asleep, not because the book was boring. It was very interesting.
Also, 12-hour road trip, if you're a passenger, you're going to nap at some point. Sweetest. That one's on my list too. It's literally on my end table in my like hopeful stack, along with If We Were Villains and An Enchantment of Ravens.
Oh yeah,
which were there before we came up with this list, so they were already there.
Look at
my next one is another fantasy romance. Sorry, not sorry. And this one's really underrated. I like never see it on like Bookstagram or in the bookstore. It's so weird to me. It's called The North Wind by Alexandria Warwick. This is like, I came across it kind of by accident, and it sounded intriguing, and I bought it, and then I read it obsessively until I was finished. It's definitely a darker fantasy romance, and it is a proper enemies to lovers, like dagger to the crotch enemies to lovers. It is so great, and the female main character is so great, and so it is definitely darker, and it deals with some heavier themes, like there's some addiction themes and stuff like that, so just be prepared if you're gonna dive into it. It has a really cool magic system. It has a very cool mystery, and it's a bit like Hades and Persephone and Beauty and the Beast had this sort of like dark love child. It is so underrated, and I keep recommending it to people, and I don't know. I put it in your stack as well.
Yes, I was just going to say that, and the last one with the Wind Nose. Those are both kind of like upcoming. So
The North is a good like autumn read, so I would definitely read it soon. And yeah, I was just very happy with it. When it was over, I was like, how is no one talking about this book? Why aren't people as obsessed with this book as they are with like ACOTAR and like all those other books?
Isn't it an indie?
I think it might be, yeah.
Yeah,
it's so awesome. And I've shared it on our page before, and I'm probably gonna have to share it again and be like, did you not hear me the first time? Read this.
Yeah, maybe after I read it, we can do kind of like a tag team review it and make it explode.
Promo it up.
Sounds like I'm gonna really like it. I started using Storygraph instead of Goodreads lately.
Okay.
And I mean, I use both. I update my reading on both, but I'm just mostly focusing on Storygraph, and that's where I care about things, because it, as you rate and review different books, it starts tracking like the types of book you read. So in my summary, it tells me you tend to lean towards adventurous, dark thrillers that are fast-paced. Yeah, those are kind of the I think it was something like that, but dark was definitely in there. I was like, oh yeah, well.
It wouldn't know what to do with me. It'd be like, so you like fluffy contemporary romance, steamy Regency romance, dark fantasy romance, also the occasional historical fiction. You're weird.
Yeah. I think it takes like, if you read,
you like romance.
It's gonna tell you like romance because you probably read a lot of short ones, so it looks like you read more of that than anything else. But just because they're shorter, you read them faster. So that's where the stats kind of lie. They don't lie, but can be misconstrued. But yeah, I'm not.
Speaking of romances, Elise has a romance book recommendation.
Yes, that is the next one. Is that the only one on my list that's just straight up? Yeah. Yep. That's just the straight up romance. I've been kind of shy of those for the last little while, so you have uprooted my world.
Brought you to the dark side, maybe.
Yep, can't even deny it. The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I would have stayed up till 4 a.m. reading this. I would have. I was about to, and then I was stupidly smart as a good responsible adult, and I went to bed at 1 a.m. instead. I cut myself off, and then I woke up the next day. I think I like got ready, ate breakfast, sat down, and read until I was done. Like there was nothing. It was a holiday or something like that, so I didn't have to do anything. But it's like I don't care what else is on my plate. I'm finishing this, and then I'll think about life again. And it was worth every second. It's fake dating, kissing a stranger to get out of a situation. Say no more. Like, give me those tropes. Those are the only tropes I care about. And also, just to add fuel to the wonderful, sexy fire, our protagonist is a woman in STEM doing cancer research, and she kicks ass. Like, she's amazing, and I love her very much. And now I haven't even mentioned the tall, dark, and handsome, broody love interest. So go, be free, and read. Ignore us for the rest of this episode because that's all you need to know. No, you have one more for us, but after that, you can just tune out.
Yeah, this one I had seen on Bookstagram, and I had it on my list for a while, and it was on Kindle Unlimited. And I was having a bad week. I was like, I need something funny. So I picked up this book called That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon by Kimberly Lemming. And it is so stinking funny. I sat there and read it in an afternoon, like cackling, and I loved it. It's like a really lighthearted, like comical fantasy romance. And I mean, it's what the title says. But there's actually like a big old mystery, and they go on an adventure, and there's like lots of fun side characters and like fun magic, lots of spice, lots of swearing, which was totally up my alley. I was like, they talk like I do. lots of F-bombs. And yeah, I had such a good time reading it. I read the second one too. It was also funny, but I still think the first one was funny just because I wasn't really prepared for how funny it would be. It was sort of like having a comedian tell you the story. It was just great.
That's so fun.
Yeah, you got to read it. It's a good one. It definitely got me out of my little slump. It got me out of a reading slump as well. So I would say, yeah, if you haven't read it yet, you should. It's great. So as we said before, we are planning a little hiatus before we get into season 4, but that doesn't mean we haven't started thinking about it, and we have some brainstorming going on. So I thought we'd give you guys not really a sneak peek, but I don't know, a little hint to
A few
what's
hints.
coming. Yeah, a few hints.
Sure, why not? We don't want to leave you in the dark. That's what the Instagram is for, but
Yeah.
we'll do that here too. And yeah, I think we definitely want to do some more interviews. Like I was saying at the beginning, those were so much fun. It's been lovely getting to know other people in the writing community, and we know a bunch of different writers from Bookstagram, and don't worry, you're like probably all on our list. We want to get you all on here eventually. And not even just writers that are published, but writers that are doing other interesting things, or learning about how you start your querying journey, or all those different things, because that's kind of where we're at. It's all been so motivating and kind of heartening to learn from each other. I have a Wattpad writer that I know that I would love to hear from if they're up for it. And yeah, we always love learning about new experiences from other people. And yeah, this is why community is so important and so great. Like, even though writing feels very solitary, and yes, you do have to hunker down on your own in your closed office to get the words down, and if you don't do that, you're probably not going to get there. But once those words are out, the sharing of work, the feedback, the beta readers, the editors, the other writers just kind of saying you're not alone and we're all going through this together, that's what keeps us going. So
I'm looking forward to more interviews. Those have been some of my favorite episodes as well, even though I always get really nervous. I'm like, hope they don't think I'm an idiot. And then it always ends up being really fun, and I love it. So definitely more of those. I'd like to do a bit of a deep dive into different genres and how there's certain expectations for each genre that writers should be aware of. We could do like fantasy, thriller, sci-fi, and then there's the subgenres, especially like the romance subgenres, fantasy romance, sci-fi romance, which I wish there was more sci-fi romance that wasn't just aliens. Like, I just want more people hanging out in space. Like Hunt the Stars is a great book like that.
Except he's an alien, isn't he?
Yeah, and the second one he's not. But I was thinking more like, I loved Ice Planet Barbarians, but I want there to be more sci-fi romance that's like a bit different than that. I've binged most of those. I need new stuff. And I'd like to chat a little bit more about craft. But I wonder if we can sneak that into interviews as well, like pick other writers' brains about craft, right? I think that would be... Yeah, look at that. We just came up with a little idea right now.
There's so many options. I have some floating in my brain that I kind of want to just like spew at you right now, but maybe
we'll finish this, and then we're gonna end up having a brainstorming session. We'll stop when my husband's not home, so we'll stop when yours gets home. Like, oh yeah, real life calls. Anyway, but like I said earlier, we don't have a release date for season 4, but I think you can expect it sometime in spring of 2023. And if you follow us on our socials, we will keep you posted as promised. And that's the tea on the Tea Grannies. It's hard to believe this is our last episode of season 3, but here we are. So please leave us a review. Please, please, please. Reviews are so important. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at the Tea Grannies Podcast and on Twitter at the Tea Grannies. Thank you so much for listening. We can't wait to get started on season 4. But until then, happy writing.